Good morning.
Good
Dobro
morning.
utro ugornium. Let me say that again. Poetics started talking. Good morning, bro. Dobro utro ugornium and dobro utro na yaziku yu yanya. Uh, that's a mouthful, man.
Wow.
welcome to That's Life with Evolution. I am your host, Evolution. And today I got my man Poetics back in the building. I always bring my people back when they got something new going on. Poetics, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Evolution?
Hey, man, it's a great day. I got a new look and got some sound in the background. Hopefully, everybody likes it. And, dude, for those who don't know you, which they should start to know you by now, give us a little something about who you are and what you do.
Yes, I've definitely been writing poetry for years, of course.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I write a little bit more sporadically these days, but
mm-hmm,
incredible work, I think, based on what people tell me.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Of course, I have our co-show with Evolution, What's Going On, that
Absolutely,
that
absolutely.
we're that we're doing every Saturday, and I love it. I'm enjoying it. It's pretty enriching for me. So,
Hey man, that makes two of us for real. Um, so yes, you are the co-host of What's Going On, and you are a poet. And I know you kind of gave people a little teaser last time, but we've been working on poetry for a minute, man. And don't nobody really know about it, but they soon will because we got some quorum coming up soon together collectively, and then we also got some things coming up individually. So I'm excited about that and looking forward to it, bro. Um, let's see here. Let me go ahead and get into the sponsors for the show today,
all right.
which is the usual. JG's Lounge, Golden Diamond Productions, TGBTG, Leia's Question, and Vibe, VYV. You shake it, you sniff it, and kind of get your thought process going. Get it active and whatnot. Go to myvive.com and type in Lucian 15 for the code. Get a little discount and support the show. Uh, like us, follow us, all that good stuff. We appreciate everybody that's tuning in today and tuning in tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, you like the new look and a little sound in the background. We're trying to do a little something new every time we have a new what I call season. It's just like season three for me, man. I'm excited about it. Things is rolling real good. You right?
Yes, sir. I'm excited myself, man. Congratulations to you, by the way.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it so much. So let's get into the show, man. Today's topic is doing what matters most.
Mm.
Yeah, man. Gonna be hitting a lot of different spotlights on that. But as always, and that's life with evolution. We bring up a topic and get going. People who usually sit on one side or the other, and we try to bring them to the middle, make life a little bit better for them. You know what I'm saying? And what we do with
Absolutely.
that, we get rolling with that with Leia's question. So let's get into Leia's question. All right. All right. So Leia's question for the day is why put all of this effort into learning? I'm sorry. Why put all this left effort into losing instead of doing the right thing and not having to worry about losing? Hmm. What are we talking about? Uh, doing what matters most. Uh, Basically, following up with that question, man. In life, you know, we want to kind of accumulate something day by day, whether it's knowledge or material things or just trying to advance. You know what I'm saying? Uh, by any means necessary. Well, in the best way possible. Let's say it like that. What you got, bro, off the topic and what's going on with Leia's question?
I think that's a great question, Leia. I think putting actually, I think every loss in life, because it's kind of like, oh, you win some and you lose some kind of thing
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
with life itself. So I think that every loss in life kind of actually amounts to a small victory, because in each loss you have a learning lesson that you can get out of it. What could I have done different? What was the lesson I needed to learn in this particular situation?
Mm-hmm.
And I think ultimately it kind of it builds your character, and it kind of you're kind of basically better for it than you were previously before you had that situation occur.
Man, great point, man. Great point. Uh, without learning lessons or losing, I guess, can be one way of looking at it. Um, there's no growth. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. Um, I guess if you do something and it doesn't work out the way you want it to, then you learn from that and you go either a different route or you change up what you're doing to make it better, right?
Absolutely.
Cool. So, one of the ways we can help things to do what matters most is get into good standing. A lot of people, couple of them, it's only a couple of them out there, one or two. Um, when you get started in something, no matter what it is, you want to make sure you're in good standing to give yourself the best opportunity for success. You know what I'm saying? What you got for that, bro?
Yeah, man. That's a great point. Putting yourself in good standing to give yourself the best opportunity. I love that, because if you don't put yourself in a situation that allows you to be successful, you won't succeed.
Man,
Um, I don't want to oversimplify things, but sometimes things are really truly that simple.
hmm, right. Uh, when I think about getting in good standing, it could be having a good relationship with whoever you are working with, whether it be a relationship, uh, a position in a company, um, just about anything. It can even be credit. You know what I'm saying? Get,
Absolutely.
get in good standing with that. So if you do pursue something business wise, something like that won't be holding you back. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts, bro?
Yes, sir. That's perfect, because I think anytime you're in a relationship and it has any kind of rapport built,
Hmm.
you're able to kind of take the rapport that you've already built and continue to actually build even more rapport. So it's kind of like, uh, again, what I do for a living is I door knock. So
Hmm. Hmm.
um, a lot of times it's not like these are set up appointments. A lot of
Hmm.
times it's like code calling in a way of sent in a matter of things where you just cold door knocking.
Right,
So
right.
you have to basically say enough to keep the door open, and then when you can kind of have a few little icebreakers here and there,
Hmm.
now you have enough to for them to say, okay, I can let my guard down, and now you're able to build rapport. So I kind of look at it like that.
It's cool, man. Cool. And also, you want to, I'm trying to think of the word, man. I can't think of it. But basically, when you uh, get involved with other businesses and kind of work with them as a team, they're a different type of business, but y'all work together to like support each other. Um, can't think of that
Net
word.
networking.
Network. There it is, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that. You want to network, man, to get yourself in better standing. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I got for that. All right.
Yes, sir.
So next thing, as far as doing what matters most, man, if you're trying to make it somewhere, which you hopefully you should be, especially if you're listening to this show, right? You want to shed what is not good for your life, um,
Mm.
and that can be whatever's holding you back. I mean, it could be a vice. You know what I'm saying? if it could be just the surroundings that you're in. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes just moving from location to another location can be like a world of difference for people, whether it's a different area in the city, different state, and in some cases a different country. What you got, bro?
Excellent point. As you know, I like to kind of reference different things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's a scripture that says, if I believe it goes, if thy right hand offends thee, cut it off. Uh,
Woo!
Now, don't take this literally, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, right.
But the whole purpose of it is, if you're in a situation that's just simply not good for you, maybe
Mm-hmm.
it has a level of toxicity that you need to try to avoid
Mm-hmm.
and try to escape so that you can actually get to the point where you can actually be better for your own mental health and beyond.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just like Ev.O.Lution said, you just have to kind of shed that, and then you're able to experience that growth because now you're in a different situation that is actually going to allow you to experience that exponential growth that you've been looking for.
man. Well said, bro. I'm trying to think of something else. I know I mentioned, maybe moving away from your the environment that you're in. Um, Location is everything, especially in business, man. Um, how you present yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you are trying to sell somebody, let me use your example about door knocking. If you show, excuse me, if you show up and you got on all black and it's late at night, you know,
Man.
and somebody look out the peephole, they be like, "Nah, I ain't opening the door." but,
Right.
if you show up in the daytime, you got a nice gear, you got something well presented, whether it's a suit, just a nice casual shirt and some slacks, whatever, man. Or you got the business logo on you. That presents a whole lot of a more approachable uh, pre- presentation, man. What you got for that?
Absolutely. Yeah, your presentation, I think, goes a long way in any business or any endeavor that you want to pursue.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you, there's that statement that if you want something, you kind of have to look the part. So if you're
Man.
going, so if you're definitely going to, step into that arena, you
Mm-hmm.
definitely want people to say, okay, this person has a certain business acumen. They're really
Mm-hmm.
professional. Even the way, even their speech pattern dictates that I should listen.
Right, right. I'm gonna dip into presentation a little bit more, man, to kind of shed what is not good for your life, man. Uh, I see this all the time, and it really bothers me. I don't know why, but when I see people like they have a belt on and their pants is sagging, you know
Oh
what I'm
my
saying?
God. Right.
That presents such a I, I want to say negative image. Uh, what are your thoughts, bro? I mean, I know
You're
people look at it as a fashion or whatnot, but what you got?
right. Absolutely, bro. You're not wrong. Okay. I'm just gonna I hope I'm not offending anybody. If I am, well, so be it. But but I mean you gotta think about the logic of it all, right? What
Mm,
actually makes sense versus what doesn't. So
mm-hmm,
you have on a pair of pants with a
mm-hmm.
belt, which what is a belt designed for? It's designed to keep the pants at the waist or
Up,
above, right?
right?
But you're sagging. I mean, come on now. And a lot of people, even if they're actually incorrect about you, remember everything you do, everything you say, how you look gives off a certain presentation.
Yeah,
So
man, for
now
sure.
people are going to think a certain thing about you, and it could actually be the total opposite when it comes to who you are in actuality.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a time and place for everything. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Um, and I'll go here. When I perform, people usually don't know who I am until like they hear my voice or I take my glasses off or something like that because I present that image. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna dress like that every day, of course. But when I'm on stage, I'm on stage. You feel me?
Right, right.
What are your
Presentation.
thoughts? Yeah, what are your
I
thoughts,
I
man?
love that, man, because again, when you put yourself in that arena,
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to do a certain thing to, in your case, as a performer, you
Mm-hmm.
want people to understand, oh wow, this is an actual live show. I'm
Yeah.
actually paying for, it's like when you're paying for something, you're not paying for somebody to just kind of stand still and and,
Right.
and
Right.
not and not have any energy. You want that Buster Rhymes type of energy, and you want
Right.
and you want that Jay-Z presentation, and I mean, you have a there's just a way to go about it to try to get
Right.
that point across.
Right. And then there's things you can do that make you stand out as an individual versus everybody else. Even though you all might be doing music, everybody has their own style, or presentation. Well put, man. I like that. So the next thing we want to do or try to do when we're doing what matters most is generate enough income to create a surplus. What you got about on that, bro?
That's a beautiful point, because obviously, no matter what area of life that you come from or what your background is, you
Mm-hmm.
not only want to have enough money to obviously pay your bills or have a little money in your pocket, but you want to have that extra surplus to have a large savings. That way you can actually take some of that money, make investments,
Mm-hmm.
start businesses, grow businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you're able to not only invest in your present, but you're able to invest in you and your family's future. And that it's different. It goes a
Yeah,
longer way.
absolutely, man. And I got a few things that highlight, generating enough income to create a surplus to kind of help with that. You know what I'm saying? The first one is, man, you got to get focused. Um, if you're not focused on what you're trying to do, um, then you might be just chasing your tail or running in circles. Same thing, right? What you got, bro?
That's beautiful. If you don't have a goal, you don't have anything to aspire to.
Mm-hmm.
So if you first you have to set goals, and
Mm-hmm.
you want to set, of course, realistic goals. So you can't get to A to Z in one fell swoop. You have to go from A to B to C. Make sure that every goal is realistic. That way, every victory continues to mount, gives you momentum, almost like a snowball effect.
Boom, man, that's great. And I'm gonna kind of highlight that on what you're saying, uh, especially if it's a huge goal. You don't want to dive into an ocean. You want to take steps to get there, and that's what poetics is talking about. Step one, two, three, four, five. You don't want to just go from 1 to 10, or like you said, A to Z. You want to take all the steps to make sure everything's right. I always look at that as like building a house. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to start on the outside and then work your way in, right? You don't want to start on the top and work your way to the bottom.
Right.
You want to have a blueprint, and you want to start on the bottom with the foundation and the plumbing and whatnot, and then go from there with the structure, and then get the get the whole place lined out. Then you got to go with your electricity and all that, and so on and so forth. But you want to build the house correctly, and more importantly, build it to code. What you got for that, bro?
I love it, man. It's actually going to be a short statement, but I think it'll be effective.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the beauty of all end results that you're looking for
Mm-hmm.
is not the end result itself or just the end result itself. It's
Mm-hmm.
the journey.
Boy, boy, because in each journey, man, when you get started, you really don't know what you got to go through to get to the end of the journey.
Right.
Uh, it could very well end up way better than what you planned in the beginning by taking those steps along the way. Or you can hit your target and be right on dead center, or it might not be as good as you thought it would be. However, you're in this going in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, man. You got anything for that, or want to move on?
I think we're good, man. I think that was actually spot on.
Thank you, man. Let's move on. Uh, Next thing you can do as far as generating enough income is get a higher paying job or career or a second job? What you got, bro?
Absolutely. I can actually personally relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, in the beginning, I was doing a certain type of work.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that certain type of work only paid a certain amount of money, of course.
Right.
Now, in the situation that I'm in, if you're on the outside looking in, you're thinking there's no way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like it actually comes with certain perks and benefits that are like, wow.
Yeah.
So now that, and to your point, I didn't have to, I guess in this case, get a second job. It was just a
Mm-hmm.
higher paying job.
Mm-hmm.
And, as a result, I'm able to, put myself into my wife and I into that surplus that we were looking for. And it's like, all right, let's take off,
Yeah. 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 Now you're moving.
Right.
So yeah, you dealing with that personally, and hopefully everybody is, and if not, maybe you can get on track, right?
Right.
Okay. So the next thing I got here, and I think this is really important, bro. All the other things we mentioned were important, but check this out. If you don't need it, you don't need it. What you got, bro?
It's perfect, man. It goes hand in hand with if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Uh huh.
Um you have to understand that just because you have a desire for something doesn't
Mm-hmm.
make it a necessity. So you
Boy.
have to determine, is this one thing that I really want, something that I can actually live without when you're trying to achieve a certain goal,
Mm-hmm.
especially if that thing that you want is an expensive purchase. So if you're
Right.
gonna, if it's gonna cost you a lot of money as opposed to actually bring in a lot of revenue to you,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably something that you probably could say, hey, let me hold off on this just for now. And
Mm-hmm.
then maybe within the next year, when things are so much, when I'm flourishing a lot more financially, now I can
Yeah.
make that purchase and you might not even feel it at that time.
Mm. Boy. And I'm gonna do this, man. As far as if you don't need it, you don't need it. Holding on to things or old stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Oh
Uh,
man.
you gotta let that stuff go, man. If it's collecting dust and you ain't touched it in a minute, you probably don't need it. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to hold on to a telephone book that's this thick when you got something like this that'll access everything in seconds, right? There's,
Absolutely.
yeah, there's no need on, even if there's advertisement and stuff like that in a phone book. A lot of people probably don't even know what I'm talking about, but you know, there's just enough ads on the cell phone, more than you can even think about. But what are your thoughts on that, bro?
That's a great point, man. I've seen people hold on to a lot of things
Mm-hmm.
that you're like, why are you hanging on to that? And and a lot of times it could be maybe baby clothing from when their child was an infant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of giving it away or donating it to maybe the Salvation Army or just even other friends who might have kids coming up,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
like you're holding on to this. Meanwhile, that child is now 23. It's like,
Not a
come
child
on,
anymore.
it's like
Oh man.
this is actually a grown individual and who might actually have a child of their own.
Man, for real. Seriously, if not two. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Boy, man, that's spot on, man. Now I'm gonna get to the next one, which is kind of an extension of what I just said. So this is the last one was if you don't need it, you don't need it. And this one is if you don't need it now, you don't need it now. What you say, bro? What you got?
I love that. Sometimes you have to understand, like, I don't, you don't need what you don't need. So it's like people often make purchases of wasteful purchases, if you will, where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I gotta have that. And it's like
Mm.
you desire it, and
Exactly,
and
exactly.
and it's okay to have desires. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we should never spoil ourselves or
Mm-hmm.
enjoy our lives, because life is definitely made to be enjoyed. But
Boy.
you have to kind of pick and choose those battles
Hmm.
because you don't want to, like, let's say, go into debt for something that you could have waited to get later down the line, or something that you're like you didn't even really need in general. It was just something that maybe a friend has it, and you're like, oh, I think I'm gonna go ahead and try to get that too. And it's like, but you don't really
Yeah,
need it. It didn't really
right.
serve you the same purpose that it might even serve your friend.
Absolutely, man. And I want to highlight this. Um, Even if you do want something and you desire it, like you say, and it's brand new now, I'm gonna go with a pair of tennis shoes, a pair of sneakers, man. Um, Brand new on the line, off the straight out the factory. It's gonna cost you probably 200-300, if not more, for that brand new shoe. And shoes come out like every month. You know what I'm saying? So if you wait, what, 30 days? Guess what? That shoe's gonna be a lot cheaper than what it is now. And if you're one of them type of people that gotta have everything first, hopefully
Hmm.
you can afford it. Because I mean, I know the value of things, or at least I look at the value of things and what they mean to me. And even though it's a nice sneaker, it's just something to put on your feet and walk, man. Even if it looks nice, I'm good to wait for a little bit before I get it, right? And then when I get it, guess what? It's still new. What are your thoughts,
Right.
bro?
Absolutely. That's a great perspective. Is, you can put, it's like we put so much emphasis and so much value in things that really don't hold as much value as we like to think they do.
Now you see where I'm going. Boom. Go ahead, bro.
So it's kind of like, even though there's a physical network, or a physical net worth of this particular item that
Hmm.
says, oh, it's worth $200, like you said, for this pair of shoe. It's
Hmm.
kind of like, do you really have to spend $200 for a pair of shoes? You
No,
know,
you don't.
you
No, you
know,
don't.
you could actually spend a fraction of that, get you a really nice pair of shoes, and still have money left over to do something else more constructive with.
Right. Absolutely. More constructive. I like that, man. And that's you're right on target with where we're going. So the next thing is and this is a tight one, but if you can get on the path to this, no matter what the percentage is, just get started, then you'll see a huge difference in your lifestyle, and it'll be a lot easier to reach your goals. So this one here is only spend 50% of what you bring home. Keywords: bring home. What you got, bro?
I love that. Absolutely. I love that because you have to understand, if you're making a certain amount of income, you
Hmm.
have to budget your income based on what you're actually bringing home.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you don't want to have a, I'll word it this way. You don't want to have a $8,000 spending habit in a month, but you're only generating $5,000 of income.
Ooh, that's a nasty situation to be in.
You know,
Uh,
this
and,
go ahead.
and I'm even go here, man. You don't want to spend 5,000 if you're making 5,000,
Absolutely.
right? I mean, you bet you cutting it close. You're really tight. I mean, you're sea level, but you can easily sink. I mean, you can swim a little bit, but after a while, the arms gonna get tired.
Right.
you
Right.
know, uh, yeah, man.
Excellent point.
And just think about this. We're just using the example of 5,000, but let's say you make 5,000, bring home, and you're only spending and budgeting for 2,500. So just think about where you'll be sitting at the end of the year if you don't touch that other 2,500.
Absolutely. Multiply
And
by
that's
12.
Yeah, and that's 12 months that will drastically change your life if you focus and spend 50% on what you actually make. What you got, bro?
I love it, man. Basic mathematics. It has a
Mm-hmm.
way of bringing home so many things that people don't necessarily think of.
Mm-hmm.
But to your point, like that 2,500, and you're multiplying that times 12 because you're not touching it. And
Mm-hmm.
before you know it, you're like,
30,000 deep, bro.
yeah, you're like, I saved this amount of money in this amount of time.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're actually able to focus and streamline your income,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not that you're even living like a like a hermit to where you're not doing anything,
Mm-hmm.
because remember, you're budgeting your finances. So even if you're, like, for example, if you're budgeting 2,500 out of that $5,000 income,
Mm-hmm.
maybe your bills only amount to 15 or 1,800. You still
Yeah.
got 700 left over to do, extra things that you like to do.
Yeah.
So I guess the whole point of this, ladies and gentlemen, is to just apply good spending habits and, more
Mhm.
importantly, good saving habits.
Absolutely, man. And we're talking about 50%. But as I mentioned, it don't have to be that, especially if you're getting started on this plan. It could be 5%, it could be 10%, it could be 1%, you know. But whatever it is, and if you don't touch it and don't mess with it, by that by that time frame, whether it's 6 months, 12 months, 3 years, you got some stuff to work with, and that'll change how people look at you when, say, for instance, you want to use your credit or use your, I mean, think about it. Do you want to give yourself a loan off your money, or do you want to go ask somebody for a loan off their money?
Bang, because yeah, absolutely, man. Because of course, when you get a loan from someone else off their money, guess what? They're going to charge you an crazy amount of interest just to pay it back. So you go to them for a loan of 5K. Yeah, you're gonna pay the 5K back, but by the time you go through that whole term, you've paid
Mm-hmm.
like 7 or 8K
Yeah, and you just lost two or three
to three
thousand,
thousand dollars exactly.
you know, and just gave it to somebody else. Uh, Boom. I hope we getting people to see the point right now, man. Uh, and that's leading up to the next one, which is create wealth. So a lot of people, they think about being wealthy, they want to be wealthy, they wish they were wealthy. With what we're talking about here, it's really possible. You just gotta make that sacrifice, that small sacrifice, to make it happen. What you got, bro?
I love it, man. I think true wealth is going to start in your mind. You know,
Boom.
however you think and you perceive yourself. I mean, if you don't look at yourself in a certain light, how can anyone else, right?
Mm.
So you have to look at yourself and say, okay, I am rich, I am wealthy, and eventually, as you continue to mold and shape your habits to that of rich and wealthy people, before
Hmm.
you know it, you'll have something to actually show for that mentality that you have in your mental is now able to come into fruition in the physical.
Man, you said a lot with that, man, and I'm gonna try to highlight that with maybe a little bit more. Uh, your thoughts, man. Uh, Everything begins with a thought, and if you're thinking you're broke, guess what? You're gonna end up broke.
Right.
It's that simple. If you think it, and especially if you say it, you
Absolutely.
you you didn't you didn't lost the race before you even got a chance to start it. You know what I'm
Excellent
saying?
point.
Um, so you got to think like a winner. You got to think like a champion before you can become a winner or a champion. Same thing with wealth. You got to think wealthy thoughts in order to end up being a wealthy individual. And the best way to do that is get control of what you got coming in, and more importantly, stay in control of how you spend what you got coming in. What you got, bro?
I love it, man. To your point,
Hmm.
there is so much power, and people don't realize the power of it, but there is
Hmm.
so much power in what you say.
Boy.
Um, of course, everything again starts with that thought, but
Hmm.
once you speak it out into the atmosphere,
Hmm.
it's almost as if you're, it's almost like a prayer of such, because now you've the universe is going to begin working. So if you're saying,
Heck
"Hey,
yeah.
I'm 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 poverty stricken. I don't have anything. I'll never be this," well, you spoke it, and now the universe is like, "All right, this is what this person thinks of themselves."
Man,
Uh,
absolutely.
so go ahead.
So I'm gonna look at it like this. I'm gonna try to bring this aspect. I'm trying to make it to where everybody can feel this. So let's look at a car or a house. Just about everybody at some point in their life. ends up getting a car or a house. And their focus behind that is so driven that no matter where they start out, they either end up with that car or they end up with that house or both, right? So when you understand that principle, that's exactly what we're saying. We're just taking it to the next level, because there are people out there with houses and cars. You know what I'm saying? Because they practice that, those steps over and over and over again. And once you do it once, it's easier to do it the second time, and more easier to do it the third time. What you got, bro?
I love that. And it's funny for me because I have a different philosophy in life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So I'm still going to try to make it tie in, but
mm-hmm,
I think that we as individuals, as a people, as a human race, I think have become wasteful in a lot of scenarios.
mm-hmm,
So me personally, I try to think rationally.
mm-hmm.
I'm one person with one family, so I only need one home.
Okay.
But for people who aspire to have multiple,
Mm-hmm.
so be it. But
Okay.
I guess I'm of the mindset where I, why do I need 52 rooms in my house and it's just two people living in this place? It's like I could probably I will be better served to purchase that house and even donate it to large families, and be able to benefit the world and make it a little better in that regard, as opposed to me keeping that for myself. But
Okay. Okay.
again, that's just a little bit of my own philosophy there.
Hey man, I'm gonna challenge myself to challenge you.
uh
So just off of where you think, and this is what this is how I'm thinking after you said what you said. So you said, why would you need more than one house,
uh-huh.
or more than enough rooms in your house? Let me break it down like this, bro. Um, let's just say you have your house,
Mm-hmm.
and you were able to get a second house. Uh, Most people sell the house that they're in to get that more expensive second house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all the assets in that first house, they just lost, however
Mm-hmm.
long they was paying on it. So let's just say you pay that house off, you get another house that you get more comfortable in, and now you use that house that you had before as rental property. So now you're starting to see things the way I see things. So
Mm-hmm.
you still got your one house,
Right.
but your second house or your first house is now an asset that's generating income.
Income. Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
Gotcha.
now you can kick back a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You can relax a little bit,
Right.
and let's just say you do it again.
Right.
Because you got that income, you're paying this house off, you're paying that
Right.
house off, and then you get a bigger house. And,
Absolutely.
and let me explain my thoughts behind that. In your first house, it was just you, right? Your second house, it was you and somebody else. In your third house, it's you and that somebody else, and y'all done made another somebody. You feel me? So, so your family's growing, right?
Uh-huh.
And eventually, you're probably gonna have grandkids and whatnot. So you're spreading out for what's gonna spread out, right?
Right.
And now you got two forms of income that's really got you comfortable, and you
Right.
have a choice: do I still want to keep working or not? You feel me?
Right. Right.
So your efforts, they're growing every year, uh, and those rooms in those houses, excuse me, those houses are growing every year too. Because guess what? You got more people that's going to be visiting. What's your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts?
I love that because I guess I should preference my comments by saying what Evolution just broke down, I totally agree with. I mean, if you're going to be able to, set yourself up to where you can use those houses as streams of income,
Hmm.
absolutely. Not to mention, you're actually providing housing for another family.
Boom.
Um, so it's doing so much, and you're actually able to leave a legacy now to your own family because they
Hmm.
get to inherit what you've already started. Uh,
Boy.
I guess what I was saying before is when people buy 2 and 3 houses, and it's like, oh, this is my summer house in Miami,
Hmm.
but I'm stationed in Atlanta, and it's
Hmm.
just kind of like, but you're only in Miami like 2 months out of the year. Are you serious right now? You know,
Mhm.
so,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, definitely what you said, evolution is I'm definitely with that 100%.
Okay, so I'm gonna highlight what you just said. I'm gonna challenge myself again to
Oh
challenge you
Lord, here we
one more
go.
time. Hey man, it's like that today. So let's just say I'm that person that you're talking about. I got a
Uh-huh.
house here and I got a summer home, right?
Uh-huh.
This is what's going down, bro. When you travel, people want to charge you out the wazoo
Mm-hmm.
for a rental car. They want to charge you out the wazoo for hotel, right? So now you got your own spot. You can go straight to your spot, not worry about nothing. You got your car in your garage. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That eliminates those extra fees. You can go wherever you want. You ain't got to worry about mileage, and you live in your crib. You can be comfortable. You can stretch out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You can do whatever for that period of time. Now, this is where I'm gonna get you. So when you come back, you got somebody in place to clean that place up and make that place an Airbnb. You feel me? You feel me? So you still making money in that, in that location, even though you're not there.
Right.
And what you do is you make a phone call, say, "Hey, next 3 months, I'm gonna be there. Take care of it. Get that place straightened up for me. I'm on the way." You right? And then you done collected money all that time it's been sitting. So it's
Right.
paying the bills and it's stacking up. What are your thoughts, bro?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is really, really good because I guess it all literally depends on what is your intent and your purpose for having what it is you want to have. So these are all great points, evolution, and I love that
All right.
because yeah, I mean if it's I guess in short, if it's all used to generate more money,
Mm-hmm.
who can be upset with that, right?
Boy, bang. And that really just covered the next one. We were talking about creating wealth, but that would be considered creating generational wealth. All right.
Right.
So we're not just looking out for us anymore. We're looking out for the family that's coming. And why is that important? I'm gonna let you answer that, bro.
I mean, because I always think of I think it was a quote you shared with me, and it's kind of actually stuck with me for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I've never forgotten it, and I think he said it was Wyclef Jean who made the statement of starting out in a hut,
Mm-hmm.
working his way to the projects,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's in this, got a larger house, and then worked his way up to the mansion.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that in short, when you start off in a hut, you're really starting off in a negative.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not even at ground zero. You're literally starting off in a minus scenario.
Boy.
So to be able to start in a minus, get yourself back to ground zero,
Mm-hmm.
and then be able to build on that
Mm-hmm.
is everything.
Boy. And I'm gonna take it even further, man. I'm gonna go Tyler Perry on him. Cause at one point he was homeless, right?
Sleeping in his car,
Boom. And now where is he?
man. Oh man, Tyler Perry has changed the game. You know what I mean? He's provided,
Boy.
and what I love about him, if we're going to
Mm-hmm.
highlight him real quick,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
is that he keeps his actors and actresses working. So a lot of
Boy.
times he'll use a lot of his same actors and actresses, and he's steady.
Mm-hmm.
Has there's more income generated. There's another movie for them to play in, maybe a show for them to do.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
And I love the fact that he's like, I want to keep my people working because, again, you're helping people build their own generational wealth.
Boy. And once you get to the point where you're helping other people build their generational wealth, hey man, you're in a good position, right?
Oh man,
Uh, Welcome to the show, everybody that just tuned in. This is That's Life with Evolution. I'm here with Poetics, and today we are talking about doing what matters most in life to get you to that next level. Man, we had a bunch of people just chime in. I appreciate y'all. Check us out. Keep watching. Uh, so the next one here, bro, we're gonna talk about seeking ownership because man, people
wow,
don't realize how important that is. And
man,
I'm gonna get to these 3 points, bro. And you can pick one, or you can hit all three. Check it out. Seeking ownership. Are you using your own products? Are you selling your own products? Are you buying your own products? What you got, bro?
Wow. Um, if you don't mind, I think I have an idea. It's gonna be a little deep, so
Okay.
bear with me.
Okay.
I'm gonna take that concept that you brought, and I'm gonna try to expound on it, but in a
All right.
different way.
Okay. Okay.
Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna try to not make this so long,
All
and I'm gonna
right.
try to not lose you guys in the process.
Okay.
All right, so let's just face it, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
are of black descent,
Mm-hmm.
there was once upon a time where you were considered property.
Mm.
Um, so everything that you did, every effort that you gave,
Uh-huh.
not a single bit of it was actually used to benefit you or your family.
Boy.
Now we fast forward to today,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're in a situation where every effort that we're able to give and put forth
Mm-hmm.
is able to not only benefit us, but our families as well. I
Man.
think the beauty of having ownership is now, we're not only able to own property,
Mm-hmm.
um, own things that would allow us to achieve financial supremacy and be able to hand this down to our relatives and family for generational wealth.
Boy.
But there is actually, believe it or not, a certain level of beauty in be able to have full ownership of oneself.
Man. Wow, bro. I kind of don't want to do this, but I think I'm going to do this, man, because this is my life we're talking about, man, and I know where I started.
Uh huh.
And when you mention negative to nothing to something to having over plenty, that's pretty much talking about me and how I got down from start to where I'm at now.
Uh huh.
So I want y'all to focus on this hat real quick. Uh, that's me. All right. The music for the introductions of my shows, that's me. You know what I'm saying? This show, this is me. Right? Right? So it's kind of backing up what we're talking about. Uh, and we'll get into it later, but we're going to talk about different forms of payment and how we get paid. And I'll just say it like this: you can do something once and get paid over and over and over and over again.
Residual income.
Boom, royalties, versus doing something once and getting paid once, right?
Right.
So, yeah, man, ownership is everything. So, again, are you using your own products? Are you selling your own products? And are you purchasing or buying your own products? Man, got anything else for that, or can we move on, bro?
Yeah, we can definitely move on.
All right. And so earlier, we was talking about if you don't need it, uh, you don't need it, and we also were talking about let's get here, shedding what is not good for your life. Uh, so we're gonna highlight that real quick. We're gonna take a spin off of what we're talking about, and I call this the frowns of the hand-me-downs.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
man. So this is what I mean by that. So some families, only a couple, it's not everybody, it's only one or two out there. Definitely undershooting that. Um, they like to hand down what is called debt,
Mm,
or they like to hand down what is called the broke mentality, or the rob Peter to pay Paul type of situation. You know what I'm saying?
wow.
And so on and so on. What are your thoughts, bro?
Man, I think that you and I are able to actually both personally relate to this thing.
Uh huh.
And it's funny because when you're first in your very young formative years,
Mm-hmm.
you only know what you know, which
Mm-hmm.
is what you got from your family.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the beginning, you might be thinking similar to how they're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
uh like you said, robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Mm-hmm.
uh just get this house for now. Don't go
Mm-hmm.
for the house that you actually want right away. Just get something for
Man.
now and build up to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like,
Yeah.
no, you want what you want now. you know uh,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like you have to actually deprogram yourself
Nice word.
so that you can actually reprogram yourself and
Nice word.
and actually get to a point to where, okay, I've risen above this thought process and this philosophy, and it's like
Boy.
now you have a philosophy of your own,
Mm-hmm.
and it's actually worked. And then when your family members kind of look back and sit back, they're like, what did you do? And it's
Right.
like, and it's kind of like, for lack of a better way of putting it, I just didn't listen to you.
or you stop listening to them. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Man, look here. So I'm gonna highlight some examples of what we're talking about when I mean what I mean by the frowns of the hand-me-downs, the mentality that we might get from the people we grew up around, the debt, robbing Peter to pay Paul type of stuff. So this is what I'm talking about. Let's say you have a credit card, right? And you max it out. So of course you can't use that card no more. But what you do instead of paying it off or keeping it from maxing out, you get another credit card with a bigger limit, and you transfer that balance to that new card. You're not really getting rid of that, or not really paying for the stuff that you purchased with that card. So it's going to cost you a lot more than what it did before. Uh, and that's what I mean by that broke mentality. I'm not talking about people, but I'm trying to make people understand the things that we do on a daily that can prevent us from getting to where we need to go. If you don't need it now, you don't need it now. If you don't need it, you don't need it. What you got, bro?
I love it. I think we have to really, just kind of take a hard look in the mirror sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and understand that, do I really have to have this thing? We want to have certain things so bad. We want to have a certain level of esteem,
Mm-hmm.
a certain level of privilege,
Mm-hmm.
uh, keeping up with the Joneses. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people have this thing, and it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, at the end of the day, it's really just stuff. You know, it I
you know,
mean, you have to understand what is the real true value in it. And I think we kind of highlighted this on our co-show, or on our,
absolutely,
and you are the greatest value that you will ever have. Uh,
man.
I
Boom.
mean,
That's beautiful.
you can't put all your eggs in the basket of the more money I have and all of this and that, the better
Mm-hmm.
off I'll be, because you know, would you look at yourself as of low value when you had no money?
Boy.
So you have to continue to look at yourself as, you know, stay even keeled. I think is the
Mm.
key. No matter
Okay.
if you only have $2 in your pocket or 5 million in your savings account, like you want to continue to look at yourself. It's just money. Yes, it's a tool that I can use to not only change my life, but the lives of my family and the lives of others. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it literally is just money. It's like we have to understand that, again, each other, ourselves, are our greatest assets.
Boy, man, I can't mess with that. You bullseye me. Hey, that's wonderful, man. So we're gonna switch it up just a little bit, like we switched it up a little bit before. Um, we're gonna talk about doing what really matters most. Um, change it up. You know what I'm saying? So having a positive balance after all the debt or expenses are paid, that's kind of where we want to be, right? We kind of highlighted that and talked about that. Do you want to elaborate or want to keep going?
Yeah, we could elaborate. Just one thing I'll mention is that when you have a positive balance at the end of all your paid debts,
Mm-hmm.
and so forth, I think the beauty of that is you're in that surplus to where And a lot of times, you're able to put back a substantial amount of money in
Mm-hmm.
for savings because
Mm-hmm.
you've already paid your bills and
Mm-hmm.
you realize, man, I have this amount left. Wow, I think I
Right.
can put
Right.
this amount up. And then on top of that, you can still leave yourself a substantial amount in your pocket. And the beauty
Mm-hmm.
of it is you don't have to spend it.
No, you don't. You got what they call buying power at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got options. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can go out to a mall or a store or wherever, and you see all this stuff, and you see people putting things in a basket, and after a while, you're gonna start doing like me, and I just shake my head, bro. I just shake my head because I see some of the things that people purchase, and I'm like, why? You know,
Mm-hmm.
why? And I, I know that they probably have a reason, but from where I'm standing, either that stuff's going to be out of date or broken tomorrow, or not even used tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? The things that we purchase have to, I guess, make not just cents, but
But
dollars.
dollars.
You feel? You
Uh-huh.
feel that? You feel
Uh-huh.
that?
I love it.
Yeah, man. So that leads us up to the next one, which is acquiring assets. You know what I'm saying? Um, let's talk about a car. We mentioned that earlier. Everybody knows that as soon as you drive a car off the lot, it's worth less than what you're going to be paying for it. Uh,
Hmm.
and depending on the interest rate, it can be way beyond what it's even worth. Um, it's only worth more than what it is to the dealership. You feel
Hmm.
me? So
Right.
if you trade it in, they're gonna lowball you, and then they're gonna turn around and sell it for way more than what it's worth. Uh, unless you take a vehicle and use it to make money. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? If you buy a van, if you buy a truck, or even a car, and let's just say you're using that car to deliver stuff. You know what I'm saying? Then you're starting to make money off of that purchase. Then it's more valuable to you. Maybe not like in the blue book value. However, what do you got, man? What are your thoughts?
I think that's great. You're able to make the choice at times to see, hey, how does this benefit me in terms of when it comes to career aspirations?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is my work vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, now it actually has a certain level of value that's beyond the norm
Mm-hmm.
because most people are just driving their car just for whatever. Of course, they're driving to work as well,
Right.
but a lot of times, you're able to take something that you're literally using for one thing alone, and that's only to make you money.
Boy. Boy.
It hits different in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And life becomes a lot more fun when you're not worrying about other stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a good feeling when you start making money and you have options. You know what I'm saying? And then when you create more of those as you go along, you're not just helping yourself, you're helping other people and whoever else is in the fam or whatever. Uh, I'm going to go here after we start acquiring assets. Uh, we want to start acquiring things like beneficiaries or
Mm,
wills
wheels.
or,
Hmm.
or property. You know what I'm saying? We talked about property a little bit, but let's talk about beneficiary and wills for a second. A lot of people are missing it on this, man. And unfortunately, when you lose somebody, uh, instead of people coming together, sometimes it creates a big turmoil. What you got, bro?
Yeah, man. I think. Oh man. So here's the thing. I think a lot of times we put again so much emphasis on things that have so little value that we
Boy.
really we really miss the things that have such large value. So
Okay.
again, to Evolution's point, when you look at what what are the things that we should also look at investing in, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
life insurance policy is huge because if something happens to you as the primary breadwinner of your household, now in the event of your absence, your
Mm-hmm.
family is going to still be able to be well taken care of. You know,
Boy.
that house and that mortgage payment as a husband that you were already paying, now
Mm-hmm.
you're like, okay, I've taken out a policy so large, now my wife doesn't have to worry how she's going to get by and
Boy.
keep the house,
Right,
she can
right.
actually pay the house off, have,
Mm-hmm.
maybe some expenses for you to, lay you to rest. And
Mm-hmm.
now, maybe have some more money left, not only in her pocket, but now she has money for the kids' college fund. There's,
Boom.
there's so much that we just have to look at and say, what really matters? You know what I mean? Well,
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Man, that's great. This is going really good, man. We're following along perfectly. Um, I'm glad I saved this show for you, bro. We're going to get into stocks, royalties, deeds, titles, and cash. A lot of people know about cash. Some people know about stocks, but I think when it comes to royalties, deeds, and titles, that's where everybody's kind of not really stacking up. What are your thoughts, bro?
you know what? I think people get themselves in trouble because of the lack of knowledge in certain areas. I
Okay.
think, and I think, some of it is, from the hand me down generations that came before us.
Mm-hmm.
You can't give your child something that you don't possess yourself, right?
Right.
So if they don't know, they can't hand it to us. So
Mm-hmm.
now it then becomes our job to try to figure out, okay, what's really going to benefit me?
Mm.
Why is it so important for me to have a deed to something? Why,
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
having that ownership and understanding the value of that ownership
Mm-hmm.
is huge, because
It's
now
it's absolutely.
it's yours. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, it's a different. It's almost like a feeling that's almost indescribable, because it's a surreal feeling, because when you haven't had ownership in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and then you come to a place where it's like, I now own this vehicle, I now
Mm.
own this home,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, okay, now I understand what people on the other side are thinking, as we continue
Uh-huh.
to build our own mentalities to think like wealthy people.
Boy.
Wealthy people, they have so much ownership, and it's
Yeah.
like, when you want to, I guess, be in the ranks of those circles, you
Mm-hmm.
have to think like them.
Boy. And that's what we're trying to help everybody do today. Think a little bit better so you can be a little bit better,
Better, right?
right? And then the next thing I got highlighted here is businesses, policies, contracts that work in your favor. Now, let me stress that work in your favor.
Wow.
Um, so, right now, people are used to dealing with business and policies and contracts that work against them. Uh, I'm gonna let you say a little bit, and I'm gonna highlight what I'm talking about. Go ahead, bro.
This is beautiful, bro. I'm actually going to use a comparison and contrast dynamic, which won't take me long,
Okay.
but I'm going to use, I guess, actual examples.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this I've used in the past on our show together.
Uh huh.
But I think of, a bad contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think about the TLC situation.
Boy, they got
Uh,
robbed. They got
I
robbed so bad.
mean, you're selling millions of records,
Mm-hmm.
um, touring all over the place,
Mm-hmm.
and you know when they you're winning all these Grammys,
Mm-hmm.
and they come and ask you, hey, how is it? How does it feel to just be on top of the world and have all this money? And they're like, well, when you locate our money for us, you let me know how it
Woohoo!
feels.
Wow.
And I'm
Wow.
like, they were clearly in a situation where their contract was working against them, because
Mm-hmm.
they just didn't have the wherewithal at that time, being so young.
You're
They
right.
just didn't have the wherewithal to understand what they were even signing in the first place.
Boy.
Whereas you can kind of find yourself in a situation like a Tyler Perry, where
Mm.
everything that you're doing has your own imprint.
Mm.
Tyler Perry's Good Deeds, Tyler
Boy.
Perry's House of Pain,
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Perry's Mia Copa. Like,
Boy. Boy.
when your name is literally in front of every
Mm-hmm.
title that you're that you're producing or creating.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Ev.O.Lution was speaking about earlier. Are you using your own products? Are you purchasing your own products? That
Absolutely.
that's exactly what this is.
Man. Man, that's a great point. And I'm gonna highlight this since you started out with a group like TLC.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna use a group, well, individual who does music as well. Master P. Uh, some of y'all might not be familiar with Master P. Uh, he's powerful now, but he started out in rap music in the South, Louisiana,
I believe
uh,
so. I believe
and
so.
when he came into the business, he made sure that he owned his masters. And a lot of people don't understand what that is unless they're heavy in the music business. But that's when you got full and total control of what generates off of what you create. And he hadn't done music in years. However, he's still eating off that music that he released years ago. You feel me?
Right.
Because of the type of royalties that he's getting off of his own music, because of his ownership of his own music, and he's heavy in the millions now. What are your thoughts, bro?
That's beautiful because he understood the power of negotiation, right?
Yeah.
He knew that whatever first deal they offered him was going to be
hmm
a low ball deal. A
hmm
lot of people are just in a situation where they find themselves or feeling like, oh, I'm desperate. I've got to get out of this situation. So they take
hmm
the first thing that's offered. He said,
hmm
nah, if they're going to offer me this, they can pay me 3 times or 4 times as much off
Yeah.
tops. So we're going to
Absolutely.
negotiate this thing until we get this right. And I admire that because it's like he understood going in. It's like he understood that, like, I don't want the bag from the banks. I want the bank itself. you know,
Boy, man, that's
you know,
beautiful. And he knew his worth. You know what I'm
right.
saying? He knew what he was worth. He knew what his value was of his music, and he made sure that he kept the ownership of it. Man, that's beautiful. Um, and I'm gonna hit some more stuff here that we might not be familiar with, or we might not have ourselves. Uh, Trust. Uh, a lot of people on the everyday level aren't familiar with trust, um, and they can be revocable or irrevocable. Revocable is when they can be changed. The irrevocable is when they can't be changed. And when you set up a trust, it's kind of like setting up money for your family, um, so that they can use at the discretion of the family. What you got, bro?
Yeah, that's beautiful, man, because those trusts they can be so really beneficial, especially when there are children involved, right?
Yeah.
If someone passes away and the child is only 7 years old,
Mm.
obviously you don't want to just will this kid $10 million out the gate, right? It's like,
Right, right,
that
right.
they wouldn't have an understanding of what to even do with that kind of money.
hmm
And then you're like, hey, I can put this stipulation on when they can receive this money in this trust. So you're
Absolutely.
like, I don't want to give it to them at the age of 18 because they're young and they might just
hmm
blow it all in 2 days, or you know
hmm
what I mean. So
right.
so
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 you
you
you have stipulations, right? Basically, they can have so much for college, they can have so much for a car, they can have so
absolutely
much to purchase a house.
right.
If they want to take a trip or something like that. Man, that's beautiful. You got anything else, bro?
No, I'm good, man. I like what
Sweet,
we're doing
sweet.
here.
Hey, absolutely, man. That's what we do. That's life, bro. That's life. So I got a few more, four more actually. The next one is kind of an extension from the trust. It's a family foundation, uh, and a lot of
Mm,
people may not know about this, but basically, I guess the best way I can say it's like a charitable setup for the family, and all the money that comes in, you have to donate to specific charities or whatnot. But the beauty of it is 5% of that money stays in your possession. So as the money builds over the years, once you become legal as a family foundation and start marketing that, and doing your uh, generous contributions or whatever, the more volume of money that comes into your family foundation, the better for your family, because that 5% grows and grows and grows and grows. You feel me? 5% may not sound like a lot, But when your family foundation starts pulling in millions of dollars or even billions of dollars, depending on how it grows and what you're supporting, what you got, bro?
I think I'm just going to use a really simple analogy in this case.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a beautiful point you highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
5% of $100,000 is nice, right?
Right, right,
But what is 5% of $100 million? You
right,
know,
right.
so when you're in a family foundation, people are kind of looking at, like you said, that 5% doesn't sound a lot. Yeah, in the grand scheme of 100% of whatever you're bringing in, it's
Mm-hmm.
not compared to what you're bringing in.
Uh-huh.
But remember that 5%, if it's used correctly, can
Absolutely.
can generate so much, even more wealth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And I'm gonna break it down like this, because the 5% is going towards the family, right? But on a family foundation, you need board members, right? So since it's a family foundation,
Your
guess who
family's
the
on the
board?
board.
Board. Now you see where I'm going with
Uh-huh.
this, man. Did I just
Abs-
open some minds right there?
yeah, that's a
So,
bullseye. That's a bullseye.
man, so you the president, your spouse is the vice president, your sister is the, you know what I'm saying? You just
Right.
go down the line, bro. You just go down the line. And what does that do? If I got issues with my family member, like on an everyday level, if I'm in a family foundation and I'm a board member, do you think I'm gonna have issues with my family member, or the love is just gonna be stronger? What do you
the
think,
the
bro?
love is going to be a lot stronger because that the color of green has a way of kind of washing away a lot of imperfections and
Man,
a
man.
multitude of sins, if you will.
So you mean to tell me? You mean to tell me if I got an issue with a family member right now, and it's really not that big of a deal, but we making it a big deal, and if we was board members and counting a lot of money, that probably would go away. We probably look over that, we look past that, we get through that. Is that what you're
Absolutely,
saying?
absolutely.
Hmm.
In a lot of
Hmm.
cases, man, it's amazing how we as people
Uh-huh.
allow money to even dictate our relationships, right?
Boy. So let's just say you and I are on a family foundation board, right? And we got an issue. We got an issue. And I really go highlight what an issue is. I'm just gonna say we got an issue. And I'm like, look, man. All right, after this board meeting, we really got to discuss this because it's a problem. We need to get past it. Let's go to lunch. Let's go to this restaurant here. And it's not a it's not a it's a good restaurant. You know what I'm saying? It's a good restaurant. And we're gonna bring our families and we're gonna just enjoy this meal, but we're gonna discuss this issue and try to get past it, right? What you got, bro?
I mean, it's one of those things where the statement, "Let's let bygones be bygones."
Uh-huh.
Before you know you're in a situation of what in the world were we fighting about?
Bang! You got it. Man, there it is. Oh man. Poetics in the house, y'all. Wow. That's a double bullseye right in the middle, man. Uh that was beautiful. I ain't got nothing for that. I ain't got nothing for that. But what I'm getting at here is like right now, everybody's struggling. They dealing with all these inflated prices and whatnot. They dealing with life. And when you start to use these things that we're highlighting today and start making them work for you, instead of passing on vacations or doing staycations, guess what? You and your family is going to Hawaii. They going to Disney. You know what I'm saying? They going on cruises. They taking trips to other countries. You feel me? Uh, this stuff is possible. People are doing this every
Every
day.
day.
Why not you?
Absolutely.
Come on, man.
Absolutely.
Come on, man. So the last three things I got here for today is don't sell. You know what I'm saying? If you got something of value, know its value. You feel me? Don't sell. I mean, these companies do it every day. They buy. I mean, we see it on the larger scale as well. You remember
Mm-hmm.
Cricket? You remember Cricket?
Uh-huh.
Okay, the cellular phone company.
Uh-huh.
They people was laughing and joking on them when they first got started, right?
Right.
But then they started building. They built every year. They built every year. And they got to a certain point, and then guess what? the big dogs came in and bought them out. Why? Because they were becoming competition,
Right,
serious competition, right?
right,
They was
right.
taking it. So yeah, don't sell when you got something of value. Don't sell unless it's really gonna benefit you. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, that gives me an idea.
What you got, bro?
So to your point, in a situation it's like, how do you know when you should or when you shouldn't? Well,
Okay.
I think, we look at a situation like Dr. Dre comes to mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Beats didn't sell for, $10 million and he was through.
Uh-huh.
It sold for, what was it, like 2 or 3 billion?
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's kind of like, it's like he was making a lot of money, obviously, off of Beats.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, I don't know if he ever would have made that, you know.
Mm.
So it's kind of like when they're offering that, did it make sense for him to sell? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what made the most sense, didn't he keep a percentage of that?
Oh, I think you're right. I think you're right. I think there is a small percentage he did keep, which of course
Yes.
we already talked about the significance of what a small percentage is, guys.
Boom. So yeah, man. So if you're gonna sell, hold on to some of it at least, right?
Right.
So you get that chunk up front, and guess what? You get those residuals throughout your life. So you really ain't got to worry about nothing.
Right.
That's when you sell, when it matters the most, right?
And I just want to make a short quote real quick from Dr. Dre since we brought him up. He
Okay.
said, and this was in a song, Compton with Kendrick Lamar, and he said, he said, I came from making $100 in a day to
Mm-hmm.
making 100 million in a month. I mean
Hey,
that is such exponential growth, right?
and that makes the point out of this world, right? That makes the point for real. So next I got here, when you don't sell, what do you do if you don't sell for that type of magnitude of a profit? You modify what you have.
Hmm.
You restore it, you know, or and you make it better, so it does increase the value. You feel me? What you got on that, bro?
Absolutely, because a lot of times when a company comes in and offers money for whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times they understand that they're going to be able to do a certain thing with it that they think you yourself don't see or maybe be incapable of even seeing.
Right, right,
So
right.
their thought process is, oh, this person has a real gold mine. We're going
Mm-hmm.
to take this thing and do it right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the person that they're purchasing from doesn't quite see it that way and they miss that mark,
Mm.
they end up selling it for whatever they can get. It
Yeah.
might sound like a lot of money, and it could be, but it's
Right.
like at the end of the day, like you said, if you understand the value of what it is you actually have your hands on,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll be able to realize, you know what, I don't think I have to sell this. I think I should keep this, and like you said,
Mm-hmm.
modify it, make improvements, and
Mm-hmm.
make it bigger than what it is today.
Bang. All right, man. So the last one here is everything that we've been talking about. We've been building up to this. We've been building up to this. Everything we've been talking about to make things matter the most, the deeds, the trust, the, the all the assets. You know what I'm saying? When you do start building this stuff up, make sure that you secure everything and keep it in a safe place. What you got, bro?
Absolutely. I mean, security is huge, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you want to make sure that whatever you do earn
Mm-hmm.
and acquire isn't able to easily be stolen or taken from you.
Right, right, right.
You want to make sure that the people that you want to have their hands on it at the end of the day, which is your family, your loved ones, are the people
Absolutely,
who are
absolutely.
actually able to get their hands on it when they need it.
Right, right. Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, being able to, and that's actually what these things do: the deeds, the trust, the wheels, all of
Mm-hmm.
that is security and that peace of mind that provides, hey, okay, now I know my family's going to be good and taken care of if something happens in the event of my untimely demise.
Bang, man, that's wonderful. And I'm gonna highlight something else, man, because it's very important. I'm gonna talk about copyrights. Um,
Huge.
uh, yeah, absolutely. And this came up off of what you was talking about, man. So, and in things like music or whatever, you have things that are called copyrights, and when you own those things, you want to make sure that they're secure and in a safe place, right? Because you don't want nothing to touch that, right? If
Right.
it's got to be a safety deposit box or a fireproof safe, whatever it is, you know, make sure you keep those assets in a very secure place because guess what? They're assets and they're valuable. What you got, bro?
Absolutely, man. I mean, I think something to be said about being able to have and own assets. When
Mm-hmm.
you're able to have something that you know is truly yours, I mean that
Boy.
I mean it's a level of peace of mind that not even money can amount to.
Boy. Boy. You got that, man. You got that. Hold up. Let me see what I got here. Oh no, that's something else. Hey man, that's great. Anything you want to highlight before we step off the air?
No, man, I think we did a hopefully a good job of being able to have people understand that, wealth starts here and then you're able to build from there.
Hey man, take good care of yourself, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I think we hit a record number of people tuning in today, man. So I really, really appreciate it. The numbers is growing. Uh, Thank you so much for your support. Uh, Man, welcome again back. Poetics. We getting down. We doing a lot of stuff in the future. If you missed it in the beginning, we got some poetry books coming. We're going to collaborate together on one. And Poetics got his own thing, and I got my own thing to be coming soon. All right, that's life. I hope we gave y'all something today that'll help you tomorrow and the next day, and so on and so forth. Uh, Man, I'm just this episode went great, bro. Uh, Thanks everybody once again for tuning in. You got something before you want to go, bro?
I just want to say thanks everybody for tuning in and we appreciate your support. Without you, there is no us.
Boom. Hey, that's life. Y'all take care. Peace.
Peace.